This is E.T. Messal. I got a poem for you here called War on the Confederacy 2020. What's with this war on the Confederacy? Carpetbaggers across the South are tearing down venerated Confederate statues of Dixie's deities. Why would they? They can't just rename a military base named for a century for a general like Lee just because he routed Lincoln's legions of Yank invaders, can they? NASCAR, that's going too far. Can't whites have one sport with mostly white drivers for mostly white audiences where Confederate flags wave proudly? NASCAR belongs to the South. Carpetbaggers can't force white pride out. They can't erase history, the history of the South, just because of Antifa liberals looting and burning because of some drugged Negro dying way up north in Minnesota. Our president, with all his extensive knowledge of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and from the history he has studied at great lengths, will tell you this is a breach of whites' First Amendment rights. Yeah, I get you. Pretty upsetting for you. I feel your pain, but it's a new. You really must get over it. It's quite embarrassing for you. Displaying the battle flag won't bring back the slavery it symbolizes, won't somehow make you any better than any African American. Sorry, it just won't. It is 2020, not 1860. We want to welcome you now to the new U.S. of A., multiracial, inclusive. A country you can be part of too. As the conservatives in our country say, quote, love it or leave it, unquote. Come on, a bunch of poor working whites and white farm boys were duped by filthy, wealthy, slave-exploiting plantation barons into giving their lives for the millionaire's right not to pay the labor making them monolithically rich. Hell of a blow to get the least wealthy whites to fight for plantation might, for the idea there's one class of folks possibly lower than them. 1 in 10 of those young soldiers owned slaves. What were the other 9 fighting and going to their graves for? Your Southern soldiers, through no fault of their own, got spanked by superior generals, a superior military, a superior number of good Americans, an army filled with immigrant Irish and German, some illegal, and freed African Americans who would never, ever stop marching into the Southern states. Waves and waves of blue forever. A defeated Robert E. Lee laid down that flag for those hungry, disease-ridden, some shoeless, quickly deserting troops of his and retired to his plantation like he should have. Lay down now your flag too and let Lee's statue rest. He knew he'd been whooped. He knew what was best. Think about the fact that every time you wave the stars and bars, it only reminds us Northerners and Westerners and African Americans and woke Southerners what a loser the slavery South was. How the beat-up Confederate Army got handled on its own soil for its immoral cause. Hide that thing. Quit conjuring up the impotency it stands for. That's got to be embarrassing for you. Loser millionaires, loser generals, loser flag, loser cause. Don't be a loser. Be grateful the U.S. let the CSA come tail tucked back into the benefits of its greatness. You're a citizen of the U.S. now, a winner. If you want to wave flags, hide that loser flag and wave the U.S. flag, the flag of a nation that hasn't in all these major wars ever lost. Okay, we could debate. the for-profit Vietnam War. The Confederacy was in only one war, and it got its ass handed to it. Hell, the Taliban and Al-Qaeda have put up a longer fight. Be grateful you no longer have to be known as a loser. You're one of us. Removing statues is destroying history? You want history? Read a book. You already know this well. Most statues were commissioned in the early to mid-1900s by the racist, sore loser, antebellum, nostalgia, wannabe belles called the United Daughters of the Confederacy. And this was during the height of the KKK membership in America. No, those statues aren't history. You know that, I know that. They were erected as racism, in-your-faceism, intimidation-based fascism. Want to find out about institutionalized racism? Read a book. Not a fantasy book forced on the states by the UDC. No, a history book peer-reviewed by scholars across the nation, one written academically. You want to worship statues? You have the First Amendment right to erect one of your racists in your garage and genuflect there where we won't have to see it. Want to advertise socialized racism? You have the First Amendment right to advertise it right down into your toilet bowl where it belongs and back once you flush into the sewer from whence it came. So its generational victims don't have to hear it, won't have to see it. If the Virginia Supreme Court of Racists and your racist prez want to block burying Bobby Lee's statue at last, well, what should we do? Build an Osama bin Laden statue at the Twin Towers Memorial? Would that do? Just like Bobby's, his soldiers also slaughtered lots of U.S. citizens. His legions did well early in their war, too, with the U.S. But just like Bobby, we ended up destroying him and his evil idiocy. Should we wave Al-Qaeda flags in the stands at the Crimson Tide Ole Miss Rebel game this fall in memorial to their lost cause? Should we name our next military base Fort Hitler? Oh, would you prefer Fort Mussolini? How about Fort Saddam Hussein? Slavery is over. It won't come back by waving loser battle flags, honoring evil hearts with statues, and naming bases after traitor killers of our country's valiant U.S. soldiers. Come on, save some face. Destroy those flags. Let those statues go their way. Melt it down. Remove those racist generals' names from our U.S. military bases. Let the Confederacy finally die the death it's been waiting for all these years. You're one of us now. You're a winner.